The forge has gone quiet, the bellows blow no more. The forge has gone quiet, the smiths have gone home. Only fading embers remain, and my hearth grows cold. One kiss from you to rekindle it all.
Okay, we're back for episode 18 of Queen of Embers. A lot has happened in the past hour.
Yeah, it has.
The past 12 hours since you've been on since you returned to the island. You spend the better part of the day kind of getting yourselves prepared, kind of restoring your sanity, your health, all that good stuff, purchasing a few things, taking stock of what you have, trying to assess the situation, and sometime towards sundown, you retire back to the cloakroom. And the cloakroom, at this time of night, on this particular day, just happens to be, well, pretty busy.
Is Hexton's turn there? Or Chandler? We haven't talked to that guy in a long time.
Amadeus Chandler is nowhere near, is not here now at the cloakroom. And you do not see Hexton's turn, although it is still early in the night. He may not be. He may be still attending to some other duties in the city. You've noticed that the smell, the reek, is actually not nearly as strong throughout today. It doesn't really kind of sync with you until that night.
Lisa's trying, probably fruitlessly, to try to redo the symbols that she saw.
From memory.
Do you have an eidetic memory?
Only if she did.
I know.
Eidetic
Right?
memory would be...
I didn't even know
nice
that.
in that situation.
Yeah, I didn't
You
even know
you
that
may
was
make
her.
a secret scrutinize test.
Yeah, it's a...
Treat it like it's standard. I will...
You gonna take your time?
Alright.
You should take your time.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my time and think about it.
Yeah.
You should definitely do that. Always take your time when you
Rack your brain.
Always.
Anyways,
Yeah, that
so 42 perception, I do have scrutinized of 52.
and then taking your time adds 10% based
So
on
62.
Right.
Yeah.
If you were determined, then you would
I rolled an 88.
Oh.
Critical failure?
Critical.
Well, I mean, you know,
You tell what
unless,
kind of
it's,
critical
unless
it
it was
is.
trivial.
unless it's easy or... No.
It's not critical fail.
That is completely wiped from my memory. Sorry, guys. I forgot what happened.
You just start
You start kind of drawing, essentially. So remember, on a secret test, you will know whether you succeed or fail at the moment in which it's important, or, in this case...
Right now.
If it's a critical.
Right now, it's a critical failure.
I forgot.
Christ face.
Right. We were in a well.
Well, that didn't turn out well.
It was hard to see.
Well, actually.
Man, you guys are birds of a feather.
You're surrounded by puns.
I'm sorry. Not sorry.
You're not.
Not sorry at all. Right, so what I was going to say was, I think we need a wand of our own. If we ain't going to be able to get a preacher or anyone like that to come with us, then we need to fight fire with fire.
You want to become a wizard?
If that's what needs to be done. I don't want to be caught empty-handed like that again.
You want us to just write up a license to carry this because we know it's not legal.
And how is we gonna pay for it?
Well, I'm like talking about something we plan on doing, right? We don't got to do it right now. I mean, it's not like they got them sold. I've been looking to see if they sell them. But ain't nowhere legit's going to sell them. So it means you either got to go to a place that ain't supposed to have things, or, I don't know, maybe the Saltpeter Men. We saw that they had a wizard. And if they're the Ginnies, well, they're cousins to the king. I don't know.
Thinking the next time you see a bird phantom, a wizard's wand is going to do anything to it.
Sure as hell more than me shooting a whole lot of nothing at them.
Well, did anyone actually hurt one that we know of?
No,
Injure
thankfully they disappeared sooner than not.
one? So we don't even know if it's physically possible to.
Well, that's what you need a wand for. You're fighting fire with fire.
Well, shooting a projectile at something that can't be hit is not going to do anything.
That's what I'm saying. You're right.
And I'm saying there's something about them. All
They're
right.
phantoms.
Well, something about both of them. Whether it be a wand, whether it be one of them phantoms.
All I know is that one hit me, but I didn't actually.
Well, if you
Get
can
hurt.
hit it,
Well-
you can hit it, or it hit you. You can hit it.
But I didn't get
like
hurt.
that.
So wait.
You didn't.
Wait. What did it smell like down there?
Gunpowder.
Yeah.
Although-
So you know what they say when you're sick, right? I mean,
Please do tell.
my mother told me about it, and I'm sure that you know the same. Like with like.
Hair of the dog.
Yeah. Well, if you've had too much to drink the night before,
I understand the theory. Keep drunk and you'll never have a hangover. I
no, that's not the no.
But-
you have one drink in the morning.
And that heals it.
Yeah.
No, that just.
We're getting off track, I think.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is,
But like with like.
Wrong answer.
Right. I get the idea, but
So you get what I'm saying at?
I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea, but
There's a lot there's a lot of ground we need to cover before we go back to that island. Now, the only thing I took from that is I believe that's the source. I do.
All right.
Yes.
That's definite. Definitely the source.
So,
what do we do now?
well, I've got a few things in mind,
Alright.
but before, I say what I've got in mind, I'd just like to see if we can come to an understanding of what we all saw, of what we all experienced.
Bird phantoms. Seems plain to me.
Let's take some time and let's recount what happens. So I'll go first. I walked down them stairs, saw a whole bunch of bloody symbols, covered in something red, covered in numbers. There was a circle, a big charred circle, and 6 triangles, 5 close. That means that what I'm thinking happened is them 6 men went down there and only one came back because the rest of them burnt.
Yes.
What they was doing is some sort of ritual, and that gave that circle some power. What else I saw? I heard you yelling. I didn't see any flame.
Now that you mention it, something's coming back to me. So I had a vision.
Yeah?
Something major when I stepped in that circle. It was like I had a God's eye view of Mahoma.
Huh?
In the city. And then it all kind of drifted away. And that's when the word started coming down. Something is looking down on that one spot. Something. It's important. Someone's watching it.
So
Something's.
When you stepped in that circle, you think you... What?
I
You
invited
saw-
the gaze of something greater. Something's watching me. Maybe not just me. Maybe us, but
Oh,
I
maybe it was a Leviathan.
could be. Could be.
I mean, the Leviathan sometimes uses birds. I mean, it's how you tell the shores nearby from what they say.
Well, all I know is they didn't want me in there, so
Well, that's for sure.
I got out of there.
So,
And them shadow birds is gone.
so what happened to me was you stepped inside, and all of a sudden this wind, most powerful wind I've ever felt, pushed me, and I hit the wall. I mean,
I think that was the gods trying to keep us out.
yeah, if you think about it, it's almost comedic now, but I mean, things was falling out of my pockets. It was so forceful.
You didn't see a vision? You didn't see a Alma floating in a veil of blackness?
Nah,
Suspended by nothing?
Nope.
nope. And how can you see my home suspended in blackness?
I
don't
know.
understand.
It ain't natural.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
It's a vision. It ain't true. It's like it's something you can't hardly explain.
How'd you know it was my Oma?
I just did. You know how dreams is. Sometimes you just see a thing and you know it. That's what
Okay.
it was.
All right. Right. So it was a divine vision.
Could have been.
Okay. Well. Anyhow, what I experienced, I hit the wall, I hit the ground. One of these birds, but it wasn't exactly a bird. It had this. It didn't have a beak.
No. Not a face.
Yeah, of a woman. Yeah. And she didn't look exactly like a woman, but you know, that's what I saw. And I got to my feet. I tried to make sure you all was okay, and I was gonna try and put it down and come help Elisa, but then it just disappeared. And so you say they disappeared when you stepped out of the circle.
Yeah, this whole thing, ever since Penumbra, I felt like a man wearing someone else's coat. Like, my name don't feel right. It's like everyone's calling me Warren this, Warren that, but it just doesn't feel right anymore, you know? It's not my name.
Like it's worn out.
Don't fucking joke about that. Don't you dare. This is my life here, you know? Something ain't right.
I agree. That's why we need priests or wizards.
No, with me.
So you say
There's something in my head. There's something going on.
Say there is. You walk into the circle like that with no two thoughts.
Well, you say that you felt different since Penumbra. Do you feel any different since yesterday?
Not any different than, well, the wrong name and such, yeah. It still ain't gone away. I never said anything about it till now just because it just seemed like crazy talk, you know? Maybe I would have gotten over it or whatnot, but...
Well, I'll tell you right now. From now on, anything you say ain't crazy talk to me, not after what we lived through.
Maybe you should go talk to Endor. She's a wise woman. Maybe she can put words or meaning to what you say.
Maybe she could set me right.
Yeah,
Could be.
I'd have recommended a priest, but well, she's
She's his folk.
Yeah,
She
kinda
knows,
like that with
she
you.
knows the way of Grallsteaders like myself.
So, to make sure I understand, you walked into the ring, and I remember you saying last night that you didn't know you'd do that. It was almost as if you weren't in control.
Doesn't seem like something I would do normally, would it? You know how superstitious I am. Always being careful, real careful. Just reckless like, you know? It ain't right. Something's going on.
Yeah. Alright, so you walk into the circle, you have that vision, but you didn't say, and then you said something about the birds, but what about your burns? You said something about fire last night.
Yeah, I was I was struck by a bolt of flame.
Did any of you two see it?
Did I notice it?
No.
I was a bit busy being thrown against a wall.
No, I was holding the lamp for the miss, so that way she could take her writings down.
Warren holds up his forearm.
Well,
It
I
hit
mean,
me.
Yeah,
There ain't no bones about it.
We ain't debating. You're
Yeah.
missing hair.
these questions isn't to catch you or to disbelieve you. It's to I find that after a battle, because that's pretty much what this was.
Mm-hmm.
After a battle, you go over it and you analyze it, so you learn more for next time.
Okay.
That is part of the art of warfare.
Huh.
So that's what he's doing. So you have the vision, the birds come, and then you set on fire.
No, it was when I stepped in the circle. The vision, the bolt of flame, and then the vision, and then the birds came, and then I stepped outside the circle.
Okay, nothing else.
Well, other than the key, but that's it.
Okay, so where was this key?
Key was in the circle. You saw it.
I remember seeing it, yeah, but I mean, when I say where in the...
Timeline.
Yeah.
Say, get the key. I went in. And, well, I
Did
tried
you
to...
have the vision before or after touching the key?
That's a good question. It was before. Yeah. Hadn't touched the key yet.
Okay.
My question is, obviously the key was hot. I touched it afterwards.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
Okay.
So is the burns from the key, or are they from this vision?
Key was too small to make a burn like this.
It was quite hot, but
It would have burnt my hand, not my whole body. I was rolling around, putting the flames out. Engulfed in flames.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't. You'd think flames would have lit up the whole place.
So, the next thing I knew of with the key is that we somehow pick it up. Is that when it's cooled down enough?
I had gloves.
And so you went into the circle.
No,
No,
I
he
kicked
threw
it out in the battle at some point.
Okay.
Dropped it or something.
I wouldn't have entered that circle. Are you kidding?
See,
Not after that.
You see, these are why I'm asking these questions, so that assumptions aren't taken away after.
Everything's right out there on the table. I get what you're saying.
Okay. So, during the fight, you somehow get the key out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you step out, and that's when these birds go away. Okay, so we've had two people. You?
I mean, I just noticed the key, just because I was giving a scan to the room.
Okay, so, you're alright, right.
Right, and then I just said, "Hey, there's a key over there. Maybe check it out." I didn't think check it out meant walk in there. I thought maybe, someone with a stick or something like that go and get it.
I know
But-
I've done wrong. They don't
But it's all right. It's in the past. So I was sitting there and think back to the wind, and I think maybe, since I got a sturdy stand in myself, I'd say, when that wind came and hit me, I was able to stay up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turned around, and
But you felt it.
of course I felt it. Right, it came, like I said, it was like gods were pushing me in the back to get me out of there. But I turned around with the light and saw, I don't know what I saw. And then all of a sudden these things came down. And, Miss Elise, she was attacked by one. Unfortunately, I wasn't, but maybe one fortunate that decided to pick on the weaker looking person. But then, I went and interposed myself, and by the time I could even strike at it or it strike at me, it was gone.
So, okay, so you were faced away from the circle when...
Right.
Okay. And did the wind didn't blow out your lamp?
Well, I had it in front of me pointing away.
Okay, so you thinking you blocked the wind?
Well, I think that must have been what happened.
Okay.
Also enclosed. That know.
I mean,
Oh yeah. All right. And then you hear the birds. Did you see it either?
well, yeah.
Okay. What'd that look like? Was it holding anything? Because for me, a bird was standing over me, and it was dark for me, and I just know that it missed me. I heard it. I didn't see it.
No, I reckon it had just claws like a bird, and it struck out at her. And I would have swore she was going to be torn to ribbons, but somehow she hit the ground, I guess, right before it hit her. Well, she's standing as much as she can be standing.
Okay.
But it had some weird face, right?
Yeah.
A person.
Put yourself in the way, and then it disappeared.
Right.
Okay. What happened for you?
Same thing. We went down. I started copying off the sigils that were there, and then explosion, a wind, a something pushed me into a wall, caused me to trip. My ankle, well, seemed to have broken, and then found myself on the ground, and a strange feathered thing came up in my face with its own face. And then it clawed at me and somehow didn't hurt me.
Hmm.
And then it disappeared. So I don't know.
So, it actually struck you. It actually made contact. You didn't duck.
It felt like it. I thought I was torn to pieces, but I was not bleeding and I was not in pieces, so apparently not. Which makes me question if there's anything we could actually do to these things, because obviously it didn't hit me. I thought it did. But the mind plays tricks when it seems terrified.
Either that or it's divine intervention. We did pray.
Well, I suppose we did.
We did pray.
Yeah.
Things. I suppose it could be. I mean, I can't disprove anything at this point.
So, and I'm not saying it was. That's what I believe it is. But
I assume these phantasms they aren't physical.
Well, yeah.
Oh, it disappeared. Yeah.
They disappeared and they didn't do any damage, and none of us hit one, so we don't know.
Got my bullwhip around him, but he wiggled out. That's what I know.
Right.
So it did connect.
Mm-hmm.
That we know of. Once again,
That's what it looked like.
you were in the middle of a vision of being above the entire country, looking
Hey.
at a city and being on fire.
I'm just telling you what I saw.
Did you feel it in your arm?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, then maybe there can be, but that doesn't explain what happened to me.
Okay.
So, maybe it is the divine intervention.
Yep.
But I know for one thing that though it smelled like gunpowder down there, I don't know that particular thing would help us against those particular creatures.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, there's a lot of things we don't know. Don't mean it can't hurt to try.
Well, and also, if you were burned and you saw this vision, etc., it does match the prophet, doesn't it? And his story that he's given out, his blessed story, and his copying of this saint in his
Yeah.
writings.
yeah, I remember thinking that last night.
Yes. So, I think we know who was number 6.
I don't think it was him.
Why don't you?
It was an older gentleman, right? Was the soot-stained prophet an older man or a younger man?
Well, we
And
never
we know what explosion caused his burns,
we never saw his mouth.
right?
It was always covered. He may have that mustache.
Well, I thought they had witnesses to his accident. And he ain't that recent, is he? He's been around since before Penumbra, right?
Well, who's to say that Penumbra's the thing that opened that area? Could be there was another person.
Oh,
sure.
well, they said that those men went out on Penumbra.
Right.
I mean,
Doesn't
we
mean
have
they
that
haven't
class that you
before.
can go look into instead of sitting around here talking about things we already saw.
Well, is there a water wheel around here that we know of?
Well, we can go to the river market or ask folk there that are of the area if they've ever seen that symbol before.
Who was it that sent us on the task originally? I mean, we found what it was. We found the source. Let's go back and collect.
It was your friend that sent us to talk to Jonah, at least.
Well, Mr. Black
You're
told us to go to
talking-
Mr. Jonah.
We're talking about the reek. It's dissipating.
You talking
And we
about
found the
Hexen-
source.
Well, it might be
Hexenstern?
leaking, but who knows if it's gone?
I
Time will tell, but I don't think we got.
Well, something happened.
I don't think we waited out.
Something happened.
I think we find a priest or we arm up and we go back.
Hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So, you thinking that we should talk to Exenstone?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So, that's what you thinking. Anything else you think we should do?
I think I need to speak with
Andorra.
Andorra, set my head straight, but I think Hexenstern may know. Maybe he knows something about them visions, but
I think he said pray, and I think that's what
I
we
think he just wants me to pray. I don't know.
Oh.
Right.
You could go visit Endora and we could speak to Hexenstone, unless you specifically wish to speak to him.
He'll probably want to hear it from the horse's mouth rather than secondhand.
I suppose
Yeah.
that's true.
You're not surprised to find that Hexenstern is actually here and is apparently eating his dinner, eating his supper. At some point, he's come into here. He's almost finished with his meal now.
There he is.
You've been pulling at the wool for about 2 hours now.
There's our potential. Should we?
Let's go.
I think you should.
You would be most likely to believe the divine intervention.
You approach Hexenstern, and he is a man of age, not an elder man by any means, but probably in his mid to late 40s. He has a salt and pepper beard and slightly graying hair wingtips. He has the Mark Hamill Corvette summer hair, but it's brown and silver. He's wearing a very high Nehru collared black robe that is fastened at the waist and pants beneath of it. Imagine the dress of Littlefinger or somebody from that nature. It kind of grabs over his shoulders, and he's got a stack of books wrapped with a leather belt, which you'd see a student carry around, perhaps, at a chapter house. Ah, good evening, Fräulein Marius. And to you others as well, he says. He fixes the glasses at the end of his nose. He pulls the glasses up the end of his nose and closes this very thick tome that he's reading as he places his glasses down, or folds them up and puts them into his little pocket.
Evening. And you, sir, you saved my life. Put my hand out and shake his hand.
He will stand up and he smiles, kind of uncertain, with an uncertain handshake. He shakes yours.
Your advice.
Please sit down. Sit with me.
Prayer. We went there and back, but the prayer done saved us.
You've now back up now. First off, how is your evening going?
Seems to
Much
be
better than the last, I'll say that.
Also seems to be easier to breathe. If you haven't noticed.
Yeah, the air has it's as the wind started coming through the city today.
Yes.
And this wind is driving away the smell as reek.
Yes.
Is that fortunate? Yeah? Autumn, we of course, is a good weather who is at least blowing away the smell from the city for a while, I should hope.
I'm not sure if it's fortune or not. Could be action as well.
Action, you say? Mm-hmm. He kind of inquires. He leans in a little closer across the table. What do you mean?
Well, we mentioned where we were going last night. To the Lonely Island. We went there and back.
You went to the island.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we spoke 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago, was it? Alright, yeah.
This
You
is
got
the
the
third
right-
evening since we spoke last.
But we were there last night. And, we found some things. We think we may have found the source, but, we ain't quite sure. Down a dried up old well. All kinds of, who knows what kind of markings.
Markings, you say?
Yeah,
he says. He inquires.
Mathematical markings.
Don't look at me.
Equations.
Fräulein Elisa, what did you see?
Unfortunately, have to inform you that my journal was destroyed and might have hit my head. Something in the process I can't recall. And unfortunately, they were wiped from the walls when a gush of wind came through the well. They were written in soot and white paint and red markings of some sort.
Soot and white paint.
Yes.
See, this is how I see it. And then I kind of recount what I said earlier about my whole experience with the vision.
Back up. Before you get too far.
Mm-hmm.
The symbols you do not, the writings you're unable to record.
My journal was destroyed, ripped to pieces, and she shows him the new journal.
Right, and I can't reckon anything about that either. I mean, I'm not a learned man. I mean, I saw them. Just because you see something doesn't mean you understand it.
As a fellow
Or could
scholar,
recreate it.
I know this much. They weren't all the same.
it was entire walls. I am on.
And them letters, they weren't like ones I've seen before.
No.
But I know it, yeah. It wasn't the same thing written over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few. If I was better at cryptography or being able to decipher symbols like that, possibly I could have figured out something, but no, it was wiped from the walls, unfortunately, most of it. There might be some remnants left, but my journal was shredded by a wind that came through. As a scholar, you understand my frustration, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They look like something a lore knight probably could suss out, but not any likes of us.
I see, he says. And you all saw all of this.
Not all.
Right. Well, I mean, go ahead and tell them what we saw,
Yeah.
Lieutenant. You're the one that took everyone's
We all took on account.
account.
Yeah. So we
You
go
got the
down
story?
these steps, and we're leading into what looks like it was a well, and that's where all the scrolling was.
So let's take a pause real quick.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish to not disclose to Master Axon's turn? That's a better question, so we don't have to recount the same story again.
I'm not going to withhold any information.
I don't know enough to not tell him things I don't know. I mean, so yeah,
What
I
about
mean, I let him
yourself,
tell me everything.
Lisa?
Not the 6 triangles.
Okay. Terwin?
And the cloaks. And the pen and the key.
Okay.
Well, that's why I deferred to him, so that way I'm not saying.
That's the things that she would suggest not
I ain't
to
saying
say.
nothing.
Terwin, anything you wish to withhold?
Terran is going to,
Uninitial, at least.
yeah, Terran's going to focus more on the fantastical things, and gauge his reactions, and then if his reactions don't seem suspect, he will tell him everything.
Yeah. I'll go into great detail on the vision and, the
Right. I mean, he isn't an
The
Lord
bolt
Knight.
of
I
fire
will.
and
So
all
for
that kind of
those
stuff.
for those who have made the choice to not disclose everything, you will gain 2 corruption.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will be scrutinizing him the whole time because he isn't a Lore Knight and I don't trust him.
Sure.
I
Never
will be
trust a
doing
Lore
the
Knight.
same, but just because I don't trust anybody.
It's
I don't
Lore
trust
Knights
anyone.
in particular.
You can't trust no
They're
one.
cagey folk. They're secret.
That is
Execution
a-
complex.
So you gotta
They're out to
watch
get
it,
me.
right?
That is a fantastic story indeed. That I did not expect that. He says. Any of that.
true, every word.
You stated pray. Did you have a specific reason for that other than just to garner God's favors?
I told you. The history of that island is that of death. Many people have died there. Murdered one another. During the time of the Red Death, during the border war.
Alright.
There's a place that is many unmarked graves. Many spirits inhabit this island.
Spirits.
Spirits were not given the gift of being buried.
The birds. Could they be harbingers or something of Leviathan, custodian, something?
Birds can represent many things. They're represented in many different faiths. To the custodian, crows are a sign of the death to come. And to the steward, They are that which follows in the army's wake to pick and peck at the dead among the fields. To Zamata, they are that which keeps mothers up at night when they must breastfeed their children. To those of the learner, they are messengers of the gods. So you see birds and crows represent many different things among the faith.
Well, what of them having faces?
A crow with a face. Never heard of such thing.
One thing I would want to try to recall is, did I notice the bird sound while we were leaving? Was it still there? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think it's not finished. I think we gotta go back. But I don't know with what. Is it a priest to cleanse the place? Form some sort of ritual? Cleanse it? I mean, they done some unholy stuff there.
I don't know what you would expect. The place has been forbidden for years. What would you expect to accomplish with a priest? To toss some holy water on the ground and hope that the spirits do not rise? You don't think that people before you have not tried that?
I don't know. I mean, from what we understand, most people haven't touched foot on that island since they burnt it down.
The soldiers who set torch to it have long died.
Right.
At the time, they made a choice. Whether it was right or wrong, I cannot say. But he wipes his face with a kerchief. He's a little sweaty, as I am. But this is what's done is done. The dead that still live on that island, the spirits are there, restless ones. I don't know what could be done otherwise. I am. This is a bit out of my realm of expertise. My mind is turned toward the terrestrial, not the celestial.
Well, what do you make of my vision then? Head in the sky, Mahoma from above, suspended by nothing, floating in a black void.
I think you have hit your head.
Can I scrutinize him to see if he's hiding anything about that?
Sure. Make a secret scrutinize test.
I would also be doing the same.
Sure. Also, you make a secret scrutinize test.
Secret scrutinize, normally 43. I rolled an 88. Critical something.
That's critical.
What is it? Why do we keep getting
A critical failure.
I know. I like it's a critical.
Okay,
Failure.
52. That's a 73, so that's probably a failure as well.
I'm going to reroll that.
Every
Would
word.
you
You
like
want
to
to keep that or reroll it?
Yeah, because I can't reroll mine. You might be able to reroll yours.
How many rerollos do we have left?
One, I believe.
Oh, there's an additional coin.
Oh, I'm not gonna.
I think it was from when I used it.
We only have one left. What do you think, team?
I don't know.
I say go for it.
It's your
Alright.
gut call.
Yeah.
You make the decision.
Let's do it.
I
I'll
never
take
ask
that
anyone when I take a roll.
I know you don't.
I now have
So many.
an appropriate number of rich fortune points, and you have no fortune points left.
Are you gonna
Feels
make it
pretty
rain
good.
like Magians do?
Chaos done.
Chaos! Trios!
You get a reroll. You get a reroll.
It's over to
Alright,
secret test.
52. Who has a 59?
That's close.
I'd ask if you'd keep it, but you have no.
You
I
have
have
no choice.
Yeah, he keeps 59.
It's better than it was.
Well, I think you hit your head, my friend. Perhaps you should consult with your priest.
I didn't hit my head.
Do I think anything of his words?
I'll tell you if you do.
Okay.
That I know.
I never saw him fall. But I did.
I hold up my forearm, hit by a bolt of fire from above. No one saw it, but I'm definitely burned. You saw me a couple nights ago. What do you make of that?
It looks like you put your arm in a fire.
Well, again, I can't say anything for his vision, but he did not put his arm in the fire.
Does he
Mr. Rhodes, what you're saying borders on potential heresy. You think that you are given a vision by the gods?
I didn't mention this before because I didn't want to upset your disposition, but I ain't a follower of the covenant. I didn't pray to him before I went into down the well. See, I don't know if you know, but some of the Gralsteaders around here, they revere the poison cradle, as I do. We try to keep her eye off us, try to keep her to ward away the evil, but
Revere is a very strange word to use in that case. It seems more that you live in fear of her.
I do.
You make petty sacrifices?
I did. Did what I thought was right.
I see, he says. I suppose it is not too surprising to know this. Specifically about Gralsteaders who still live in fear as a poison cradle, despite the fact that her reach does not extend to the lands of the Covenant.
Well,
I
understand that you're saying that, but whatever I did worked.
At least you're getting a sense that he's trying to lead. He's trying to lead Warren on. That he's trying to lead him towards something. He's trying to eke out some sort of truth.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, I gave my offering, and I made it out alive. I don't know if I could say that of everyone.
I see. Well, what is it that you feel I can do to help?
I don't know. I just thought you could make heads or tails of the vision, but if you can't, and I'll speak to a wise woman or something. There's something up going on in my brain, and I don't even know what it is.
Well, is there a high holy man here in Durindal that we could talk to? That might be able to tell about if there's ways to go about cleansing that place?
You should probably speak to your priest.
Alright. Where's the
If
nearest?
you want my advice, and you wish to stay out of the eye of those who would take people such as yourself and shackle you to the stones and let you die of hunger for such what could be seen as maddening ravings, I suspect you keep this information to yourself and speak to only those you would trust about it.
Do I trust you? Should I trust you with this information? What I'm saying is you're going to report me.
It seems that you have already made that choice by telling me your story.
True enough. I didn't know what you were going to say. I assumed you could give me some insight.
Unfortunately, I cannot. But whether you can trust me or not, certainly you can. Why would I want to potentially upset a burgeoning relationship between the Dufresne and the Baroness?
True enough.
We're on the cusp of something great here. Yeah?
Does he happen to wear any sigils, any medallions, anything?
Nothing of the sort. He is dressed very modestly. No cloak, no mantle, nothing of that sort. His clothes are otherwise nondescript and black as midnight.
What about his food? Is it fanciful food or is it plain?
It's plain.
Okay.
He's eating the meal of a lowborn.
Okay.
One last thing.
Yeah.
What do you make of this?
Why don't you show him that key and cloak clasp? Maybe he knows what that symbol means.
Oh, yes. She pulls out the cloak pen. I'd forgotten.
Where did you find this?
At the bottom of the well.
Yes, it was in a cloak.
The blue cloak? He says.
Yes.
I know this. This is the cloak clasp of a student of the Da Vinci chapter house.
What's that?
The Da Vinci chapter house?
Yes.
Well, it is a university of sort. A place where scholars would gather and share their studies. In fact, the La Vinci chapter house was built to rival its correspondent in Roeline, the Arkwright chapter house. Yeah? Unfortunately, the La Vinci chapter house, as oftentimes happens, was mostly unfunded and sat nearly empty and unfinished for a little over a decade or two. During the times as the Baron lived in Genevieve the Lesser was married to the Baroness, our sun, moon, and the stars, he says. She poured money into the languished project, and they set to continue building the La Vinci chapter house to make it a grand building indeed, to make it rival the Arkwright. It was staffed with some of the greatest minds, and facilities were unrivaled. Many people came to Dorindal to study there, even as it was being built. Unfortunately, how it was not meant to last. We Alornites are fierce rivals in academics, you see.
What'd they study?
All manner of things. But I can tell you this, such things that were studied there eventually led to treachery and deception, and the grand building was burnt down. All of the creations of the past decade were lost.
Well, I fared better than Roeline, I suppose, but that's too bad.
Where was it?
Yeah.
Roeline stands. You are thinking of the capital, Bellingham.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Roeline is the holy city. Fräulein Lisa.
Yes.
It is where the Holy Father sits.
And
The west.
But
Wait.
where was this academy that was burnt down?
La Vinci? It is here in Dorindal.
Whereabouts?
Not far, actually, from Basaya Square. It is not easy to miss. It is the entire chapter house was fashioned, in a sense, after a castle, one could say. Surrounded by barracks and the students' quarters.
barracks? That is a chapter house?
He nods. As I said, we scholars are fiercely protective of our studies. But those who are possessed by that is what led to its downfall.
Oh, okay. Makes sense now.
Yes.
The arguments of intellectuals don't necessarily mean words in books.
Well, I mean, you know, it's, you know, the books are for wizards, and it's wizards that made wands, you know.
No wizards in such places, but some of the marvels we would have begun to realize at the modern age were founded at the La Vinci.
No, I mean, wands were made but through study. That's in Empire Shop, and
Certainly.
yeah.
Well, everything at some point had to be studied to be understood, yes.
Oh.
Despite all of this, he said, he goes on to say, kind of smiling, the La Vinci's chapter house still remains in operation, although it's those who remain are kind of living out their final days of study there until they decide to leave or are brought back to Arkwright chapter house in Roeline.
Do you know these people? The leftovers of this house?
Well, those who remain behind are mostly students of the headmaster, a man named Felix Hausdorff.
So this wasn't where you got your book learning, is what you're saying.
No. My studies these days are mostly attuned to the needs of the sun and the moon and the stars, our queen of Dorindal. Beloved is her name.
I see.
suppose we could add that to our list of things to check out. That chapter house. Seeing as how it's abandoned and all, maybe we could find something.
Well, not abandoned in the whole.
Well,
Its attendance has flagged, though, since in recent years.
Well, it was burnt, wasn't it?
The main building was burnt. There was a fire, an accident in the library. It burned half the chapter house down.
Oh,
But its facilities are still sound
okay.
to some degree.
Well,
the fire that happened, do they know what caused it?
Candles, paper,
Indeed.
any chapter house. Its Eloranite scholars must take great cautions to keep the books away from hearths, away from candles. It was in winter when it burned. These things have happened before. It is most unfortunate happened at the Da Vinci, but so was the way of the world. An unfortunate loss.
And the question I would have, since you seem to know so much about them,
About.
there's Da Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
Why would we have found their belongings in this well?
I'm not certain.
You say that they were studying things that they shouldn't have been studying?
I didn't say that.
Well, you said delving into subjects that might have best not been touched, yes?
Scholars study a number of subjects and topics that are not fit for common conversation.
Where?
Your mind immediately goes toward the sorceress. I find that very intriguing and curious.
It's not necessarily the sorcerers, but there's things that couldn't be explained that happened to me yesterday. And as a fellow scholar, you should understand that when books cannot explain, sometimes the stars can.
Fräulein, Elisa, I took you for a stoic.
Well, the way I see it is it's the job of a scholar to look into the unknown, right? Problem is, if the unknown looks back at you, well, then you listen to it. And then you do crazy things like go to an island and draw a bunch of shit on a well and summon in a daemon because you didn't know what you were delving into.
Can't say my studies have ever led me there.
Well, I'm glad you didn't listen to any kind of voices like that. Well, that's why you go to prayer every time. You keep to your book. It'll keep you on the straight and narrow. Unless you fall astray, like those people did. I mean, they ended up dead, right?
There's a saying in the Decalogue of Tenets. I can't remember specifically what passage, but it says, listen to the thunder. Pay attention to it and heed it. Otherwise you will be rained on. You will get caught in a storm. Listen to the thunder hop.
Well,
Do you understand my meaning?
there's also a saying, happens to be my dooming, which is the abyss stares back. So don't go staring into it.
Seems ominous, and I'm not sure I want you on our next trip to that place.
Well, that's why I thought that place was fucking crazy and we should have gotten out of there.
We
You
did.
don't go staring into those sorts of things. Unless you get lost for good.
Well, thank you again, Hexenston, for your information. I do believe that it is valuable.
Well, it seems that your investigations are not yet concluded.
Not fully. I do expect that the reef, at least for now, will be abated a bit.
Yeah, perhaps. It's clear that you have found that there's something deeper going on here. Knowing that you are acolytes of Master Alexei Casimir, and knowing that he leads the occult division of the Dufresne, I suspect you will bring this investigation to a conclusion.
One would hope.
God's willing.
that's what the plan was.
It Let us not pretend to make promises we may not be able to fulfill. But at the very least, we will of course attempt.
If it is as you say, there is no attempt. There was only finish. Finish what you started, Fräulein Elisa.
Alright then.
Do you remember my name? Then you know my family mottos. You know my father would not have me back if I did not. Finish what I started.
Yeah. Is there anything else I can assist with? I must retire. The night is long. It is a long, late evening.
No.
That's
No,
about
not
it
for me.
That's it for me.
No. I have nothing else, I don't think.
But please, I beg your pardon. I must return. I am great but queasy.
He doesn't make an attempt to take the cloak pen or anything, does he?
No. Do take heed, Master Terwood.
Yeah? Take heed of what?
The things you're about to uncover and the stones you will overturn.
Well, that's a good point. Well made. Okay.
All right, son. Good evening, he says. He straightens his robe and takes a short bow, and he'll take his leather strap that has the leather belt that has all the books strapped in it and throw it over his shoulder, and he will pay his tab, and he will leave the cloakroom for the night.
Good evening, my friend.
Good evening.
I think it best. If you not speak to him again of your own religious belief.
I don't know what I was going to expect it out of him, but
No,
it didn't feel right. It feels like he's holding something back.
I
Of
don't-
course he does. Of course he's an Alornite.
Right.
Well, yeah,
But
of course he's holding things back, but at the same time, I do believe he was goading you to try to make you say something that might possibly have ended badly for you.
you know how I am. I speak what is.
I understand that sometimes the is doesn't need to be spoken.
I don't know any other way.
Well,
He gave us a warning as he left. He gave it to me, but yeah, we need to be careful what we unturn. So
once
we need.
she could stop speaking in ominous tone.
We're the Dufresne. If we don't do it, who's gonna?
Well, we need to prioritize what's happened and what we still have on our plate. As you said, finish what we started.
Right.
So,
Seems like we got a lead.
well, we do have a lead, and we've got other leads too now, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
So
You're the boss. Make a decision.
we've got that whole mess that happened at the beginning, and the only loose end that we have with that is a man named Druce. Now, it doesn't seem to be quite as important, does it? But
Here's your next clue. The key and cloak pin.
But it is something to keep an eye out for, because while I was away when you lot was in, I forget the name of the square, Founders Square.
The side out.
While you lot was in Founders Square, I did get a bounty for Druce. It was 5 gold. I mean, that's a pretty decent bounty. So if we hear word, it's something to chase after, because what we're getting ourselves into, I have a feeling we're going to need to start funding a lot more. We're ill prepared for this sort of thing. So there's that. We've got the man with a burnt arm, or something was wrong with his arm, right? And we could chase after him, and seeing as how he had a blue cloak on, even though he didn't have it at the time, or even though we weren't told that, we can only assume that because there were 5 others there. So, I imagine he's probably going to be holed up in the chapter house. So we've got that lead. We've still got that old mess going on with the 4 interested parties in basically shoveling shit. That has to do with some of this. And we've got a man who could make a flaming sword out of wood.
The sword that had symbols on it.
It did.
I don't recall if the symbols match from down in the well.
So, I don't know how he all fits together, but there's a lot of similarities now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, one thing I'm interested in is seeing the soup-stained prophet's face. I'm interested in that.
To see if he has a facial hair.
Yeah. Maybe.
I think we know the folk that went down there were those Levinci folk.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best place to start, as I see it. If anyone got answers, it's probably them.
Hey, I've been
If they're associated with that Arkwright fella, I don't like them.
I've been in battles before with someone issuing orders, and I felt that pulse, that feeling of knowing that you're being directed. Ain't nothing like what I felt that night. Did you not
From the
feel it?
prophet.
Yeah.
What are you? I don't know what you're speaking of.
He had a way with words. He would say something, you'd want to do it.
I didn't.
I mean, you ain't wrong, but I don't think he was the man down the bottom of that well.
I don't
I'm
think
not-
so
You,
neither.
you plan on using him to fight whatever's down there?
I'm not saying he isn't that. I'm saying that he's fitting into this somehow.
There's all
And-
kinds of weird shit
and-
going on, apparently.
And maybe he is someone that we can trust. And maybe he is someone that we could use a bloody
He's-
flaming sword in order to fight these demons. But I
He
think
is not someone
that's-
to trust. He threw entire groups of lowborn people at gunpowder.
he did?
He did.
Are you sure it was he?
It was him who made the call to go.
He was the one that led everyone there.
Really? What was everyone saying that night? The soup-stained prophet said to do this? The soup-stained prophet said to do that? Or was it...
They just did it.
No. It was
Well,
someone
there's
else.
that other fellow,
You're
sure.
talking about his second in
I
command
mean, they're
being the
both
one that
barking
issued-
orders.
Yeah.
But the initial "we are sending blah blah blah," your speech that obviously you listened to was
Mhm.
from him.
Yeah.
That sent all of these people to what could potentially have been
And I
their
believe
death
he shut down that man who
for
said
3 people.
you don't think that man wanted to go.
So those 3 people were obviously important enough. There's something about them.
Those 3 people were a spike to put people on, so that he could martyr them, so that he could push his agenda.
Oh, is it that simple?
It seems so. I'm not saying that it's simple. Obviously, for you to throw entire groups of people that could possibly follow you and add to your power, if you will, at basically a firing squad, obviously doesn't make things simple. However, to assume that that man has any kind of care for actual people.
No, he doesn't. But what he is a man who can calculate. He's a man with a plan.
Well, what does this have to do with the reek?
What does this have to do with Reek? I don't know. But what I'm saying is it's not for nothing. Usually, when we's involved in these mysteries, it all points to the answer. We don't know the answer yet, otherwise it wouldn't be a mystery, right? Otherwise there would be no Dufresne agency.
Okay. Go on.
So just bear that in mind as we go along. we can't forget what we've come across. I don't know the answer, but I'm saying don't forget. So
I think it's something in the academy. I don't think we need to follow this prophet anymore. Suit-stained prophet, that's a side thing best. Let's follow the main clues.
well, I think that the order of priority is to go to the Charter House before we revisit the Super Saint Prophet, but it's a lot to take in. So,
The good thing is that Elisa is especially practiced at kind of sifting through the truths and half-truths and disclosing the clues that are clear and valid in front of her.
Here's what I'm thinking. We go down to the well. Everyone's dead except one. I step inside the circle and I have a vision, right?
Yes.
I leave the circle after being attacked. So, them shadow birds try to keep me from seeing what's there. Try to keep me from the truth. And them book-learned fellows up in the academy, they burn down their library. Something's keeping the truth from them. Someone's trying to learn what's going on. And it's being withheld. So maybe they know a thing or two about what's going on. Maybe they can tell me what's going on with my vision. Maybe not, but I sure as hell want to ask.
alright, so
Don't think he'll be as cooperative as you're hoping.
we need to focus our efforts on the academy then. I mean, the chapter house then.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
We can do so.
Yeah, how are we going to do so?
We'll walk in and we ask him.
Well, listen, y'all can decide. I'm gonna go find a man about a priest and pray for a couple hours and come back and see if y'all decide where we're gonna go. But it don't matter much to me. Y'all the smarter folk. So I'm gonna excuse myself and see y'all later tonight or possibly in the morning if you're all asleep by the time I come back.
It's exactly what I think.
So I'm gonna get up and leave.
Okay.
Hey, hang on for a moment.
11 points into my melancholy, so I'm just walking away at this point.
He's gone.
Saint Austerius. Does anyone remember from the Holy Text anything about Saint Austerius?
Saint Austerius was the first preacher of the steward. It is he and Messiah who begat the
royal houses of Aguilar. One of the royal houses, at least. They were sainted many years later after they had long died, as most oftentimes saints are.
Anything? What were you gonna say?
So I'm going to have to talk with that boy. You are one that is learned.
Cool.
And I've seen you on multiple occasions try and not reveal who you were. Try and blend in.
Yes.
I think going and asking questions is a wonderful idea. But I also think a bit of infiltration is
You wish
another.
for me to go speak to the Lavinci as a potential student?
Yeah. I mean, you've been a student before.
For years, yes, but if they've closed down the enrollment, I don't.
Listen, after the chapter house burnt down, he said they were still going.
I'm sure they'd be plenty glad to have some new blood in there. Especially someone
That is
as
what
learned as you.
Well, that's what I worry about, is the blood part.
Listen,
Again, I don't think you all understand that scholars we may be, but that does not mean that it is necessarily a safe lifestyle.
no. I'm not saying you're going in there by yourself.
Oh, and what? I take you as a bodyguard.
No. What we do is we go in. I know I said before that, yeah, we don't want to go in and asking questions yet. Here's my plan.
Alright.
We scout it a bit first, watch it from a distance, see who's coming and going. Then we get you what you may need for looking like one of them.
Well, a blue cloak and I have the pin.
Yeah. And then you somehow find your way in there, and on the same day we come as different agents, and while they're focused on us with our questions, you can do a bit of poking around.
I can attempt, at the very least.
It's a feint. A bit of dirty tricks.
Of course.
Seems like a lot of posturing for no good reason, but hey, you're the boss.
Still think.
I know you're new to these lands in a sense, but the thing you need to know about the Law Knights is that they guard their secrets. And he said that they were Law Knights. And what a Law Knight is particularly good at doing is telling you you won't understand, and only giving you half the story and proving to you, of course, you wouldn't understand, when you would understand if he just tell you straight and true. But he convinces you through giving you scraps of what the old picture is that you'll never understand. It's beyond you. You're not capable.
They're good at bullshitting. That is.
That's what you mean.
That's
They're good at bullshitting and making you feel like you're stupid. That is pretty much the purpose of their entire group. It seems
So
like.
that's why I am arguing for subterfuge, because they're not going to tell us what we want to know. And we can't just go in there and say, hey, we found, 5 blue cloaks and they were burnt, we got attacked by bird people, and, we saw them a hole from the outside, yeah.
I guess that makes sense. It just isn't in my nature to be so craftery and such.
It's in mine.
You're
Leave
not
it
being
to me.
craftery. We're going in there and we're asking questions.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that.
If you could just, if I am there, pretend you don't know me.
Yeah, we don't go, oh, hey, Lisa, hi. Funny catching
Well, I'm not
you.
that dumb.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
It just doesn't seem, it doesn't set with me right. But hey, I guess you know a bit more about it than I do. It just seems silly to go about things in that manner. But hey, it takes all types to make a world.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Anything else that's pressing before we need to do this?
only
I gotta speak to my wise woman, see if she can make heads or tails of everything. That's it for me, though.
You've got a bit of time, cause seeing as how old Mopey went off to see a priest.
don't know
Don't
what
be
he
so
thinks
hard
the
on
priest
him.
is going to help.
We all been through a lot.
He has, yeah, and I would have made time for it if. But I just wanted to hear the plan. That's all.
So we will wrap up here for the night of the end of episode 18 of Queen of Embers. 100 reward points, everybody.
Yay!
Yeah. More of the mystery is revealed. We are nearing the end of chapter 2 of 7 total chapters.
Oh, jeez.
We have begun to uncover some interesting parts of the story, and there's much more still in store for the rest of the campaign for Queen of Embers. So thank you all for coming. Thanks to those who have listened on our Patreon, those who are watching us on YouTube after the fact. Remember, you can see Queen of Embers in advance by 2 weeks if you sign up on our Patreon. And what's the level that you can get it at?
The $5 level, the cultist.
The
That's right.
cultists. You can be a cultist too.
That's right. Join as a cultist on Patreon at $5, and you'll get these episodes 2 weeks ahead of everybody else. Plus, you get really cool exclusive content like Mechanics Monday, which I think we're on our fifth or sixth one at the point that this is actually going to be up on the Patreon. We'll have some more exclusive content to show you too around an upcoming game, which will be awesome. And we get something else in store too, kind of another arrow in our quiver yet to fire, but we've been building up some content for it that we're looking forward to showing everybody. And cultists in our Patreon will get first look. So thank you all once again, and we will see you all next week. Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.